Donald Trump built his political brand on one powerful slogan, America First. It promised less foreign entanglement, fewer global commitments, and a hard focus on US interests. But when Trump confronted China, something very different happened. Instead of withdrawal, the United States expanded its global footprint economically, militarily, and strategically. So the question is simple. Was America First ever possible when China became the main rival? Trump launched the largest trade war in modern history. Between 2018 and 2020, the US imposed tariffs on over $360 billion worth of Chinese goods. China responded with tariffs on about $110 billion of US exports. Trump urged tariffs would bring manufacturing back home, but the data tells a more complicated story. According to the US Census Bureau, American imports from China declined, but imports from Vietnam, Mexico, and India surged. Global supply chains didn't return to the US, they rerouted. So instead of economic decoupling, the US ended up with economic diversification, often at a higher cost. If America First meant pulling back militarily, China made that impossible. Under Trump, US naval patrols in the South China Sea increased. Arms sales to Taiwan reached record levels, including advanced missiles and fighter aircraft. The US also strengthened Indo-Pacific alliances, revived the Quad with India, Japan, and Australia, expanded joint military exercises, increased troop rotations across the Pacific. Rather than disengaging, Washington doubled down. China forced America outward, not inward. The most aggressive front was technology. Trump targeted Huawei, cutting it off from US chips and software. Later, restrictions blocked China from accessing advanced AI chips used in data centers and military systems. But here's the catch. These controls only worked because allies cooperated. The US leaned heavily on the Netherlands and Japan to restrict chip-making equipment exports. In other words, the tech war against China required global coordination, not unilateral action. Even Trump's toughest moves depended on alliances. China isn't Iraq. China isn't Iran. China isn't even the Soviet Union of the late Cold War. China is America's largest goods trading partner, a top holder of US Treasury bonds, a rival in AI, space, naval power, and industrial capacity. Confronting China demands global supply chains, shared intelligence, and coordinated pressure. That's why America First collapses when China enters the equation. The US can't isolate itself from the system it helped build. Trump promised less global responsibility, but China forced more. More alliances, more military presence, more economic coordination. So the reality is this. When China is the rival, America First becomes America everywhere. Not because the US wants it, but because it has no alternative. Thank you for watching. For more such deep dives, like, subscribe, and follow Geopolitical Navigator.